Cinder! Shut up! I'm trying to film! My dog is barking. Quiet on set, please. Hello guys, and welcome back to my channel. So in today's video, I'm back again with another book recommendations video. I feel like I've been posting so many book videos lately, but I just love talking about books. So here we are with another one. Today I'm going to be recommending books that are enemies to lovers. Enemies to lovers is literally one of my favorite tropes of all time. I love this trope. I have so many enemies to lovers book recommendations for you guys. So if you guys like this one, I can definitely do a part 2 and maybe even a part 3 because I've read so many enemies to lovers books and I know this is a very loved trope, so I have some recommendations for you today. But yeah, let's just get into the book recs. The first book I'm going to be recommending to you guys today is one of my favorite books of all time. I read this recently. I only read it like last week, but it was so good. It's honestly one of the best books I've ever read. It's phenomenal. Oh my god. And that book is Ruthless by Ashley Jade. This book, oh my god, when I tell you it's amazing, like, I mean, it's literally one of the best books I think I've ever read. It's literally become one of my favorite books of all time and I am obsessed. So this is actually the second book in a series. All the books are standalones and you can read them separately, but I would recommend reading them in order just because I read them out of order. I read this book first and I was a little bit confused on what was happening, but not confused to the point where you can't read it because, like I said, they are all standalones. I would definitely recommend reading them in order because they are about 3 siblings, the Covingtons, and you get to know the characters a lot more and you get the sibling and like the family dynamic a lot better if you do read them in order, because I read the first book after I read the second book because the second book just sounded too good. I had to read it, and then I read the first book afterwards, which is Cruel Prince, and things made a lot more sense. But this book follows Cole and Sawyer, and basically it starts off with a prologue chapter. The prologue chapter is 2 months prior to when the rest of the book takes place. Basically, Sawyer feels this like connection to Cole and wants to like know him, and like she has a crush on him, but she won't like admit it to herself. She's like, no, like I don't like him like that. I feel like there's so much more to him than what he shows to everyone else because he is like the popular like jock. And yeah, so one night at this party they have this really deep conversation and then something happens between them, and then the next day at school there's all these rumors about them. Cole says some really mean things about her, but he doesn't mean what he's saying because you're in his point of view when he's saying this to the whole school, and he says some awful things, but he has like a reason for saying it, but it doesn't like justify what he's saying, but still. And then Sawyer hears what he says and is like, oh my god, like I absolutely hate you, like no, that's awful. And then it skips 2 months later and Sawyer literally hates Cole and doesn't want anything to do with him, won't even say his name, doesn't want anyone to talk about him at all because she literally hates him for what he did. And yeah, there starts the enemies. Then Cole needs Sawyer to be his fake girlfriend and Sawyer is like, no, like I hate you, I don't want anything to do with you, go away. And eventually he wears her down and they start fake dating, but their fake relationship is like the furthest thing from like the plot. Like it is a trope and it is like a thing in the book, but it's like the furthest thing from your mind when you're reading it because there's so many other things going on and it's like crazy. This book is heartbreaking. There are so many things that go on and happen that like broke my heart, but it's so good. Like, oh my god, amazing. I will say there are a lot of triggering topics spoken about in this book, so definitely look up the triggers before, like the trigger warnings before reading it, because there are a lot of triggering topics discussed. I won't say them all, but if I remember I'll put them in the description so you guys can read them or you can just Google them. But anyway, this book is heartbreaking but so beautiful. These characters have so much like depth to them and they're so flawed, but they're broken, but they're like perfect for each other, and it's just so good. And I'm literally obsessed with it. So you guys need to read it. It's one of the best books I think I've ever read. Cole is like #1 book boyfriend. Like Cole Covington is everything. I'm obsessed with him, so go read it. It's amazing. Read the whole series. The whole series is phenomenal. And like Ashley Jade's writing, I've never read anything from her before, but I really enjoyed it. It's very easy to read, it's very fast paced, but her characters, like I said, have a lot of like drama, and it's just so good. You need to read this book.
Okay, so I also made a playlist for this book. That's how much I loved it. So if you want to check it out, I'll leave it linked in the description below. I just feel like these songs really represent the characters individually, but also their relationship as a whole, and like the book just all together. And yeah.
Okay, so the next book that I'm going to be talking about is The Revenge Pact by Isla Madden Mills. This book is the first book in a series. They're all standalones, but this follows River and Anastasia, or Anna as she goes by, and basically Anna is dating one of River's frat brothers, but River has always like kind of liked her, but he can't be with her or do anything about it, even if her and her boyfriend were to break up, because, you know, like broke her. So he decides that he's going to hate her, and if he can't be with her, then he doesn't want anything to do with her. He's really mean to her and awful to her, but you're like, when you're reading in his point of view, you can see that he doesn't want to be mean to her. He's just being mean to her so that he doesn't feel the feelings that he wants to feel, and like he like wants to be with her, but he can't. And Anna feels this same like connection to him, but she can't really do anything about it, obviously, because she has a boyfriend. But then something happens, I'm not gonna say what because it's a spoiler. Something happens and she needs to get revenge. So she convinces River to help her get this revenge, and River doesn't want to. He like at first he's like really hesitant because obviously he like is loyal to his frat, but Anna offers to help him study for, or help him with this essay that he needs to write for his English literature class, I think. But he's really struggling in that class because he's not very good at English, and he needs help, and the only one that can really help him is Anna, but he doesn't want to ask her for help because of his loyalty to, you know, his fraternity brothers. Anyway, and so yeah, they make this little deal, the revenge pact, where he's gonna help her get revenge and she's gonna help him pass his English class. This book is so good. There's something about the way Isla Madden Mills writes an enemies to lovers book that's just everything, and River is honestly the sweetest person. I'm obsessed with him. The book I'm going to be speaking about is Bad Boys Break Hearts by Michaela Smeltzer. I always mess up her name, but I think that's how you say it. This book is phenomenal. This book, like, take my word for it, it's so good. It is like a bad boy, like good girl, enemies to lovers type of book, and it doesn't like sound like much, but it is so good. I literally love it. So this book is childhood friends to enemies to lovers, which is one of my favorite like tropes, like more specific tropes. So this book follows Mason and Rory, and they were childhood best friends. They always liked each other when they were kids. But something happens when they were kids and now they don't like each other. I don't remember what happens though, like I genuinely can't remember. Anyway, they end up at the same university and they meet again, and Mason is really mad at her, absolutely hates her, and proceeds to be an awful person. And he kind of like bullies her, but like Rory is not like having it. She kind of stands up for herself, I think. So yeah, but then obviously we know enemies to lovers, like something's gonna happen, things have to happen between them, and love and hate starts to slowly turn into love, and those feelings from when they were kids start coming back. It's really good. I promise you, read it. Phenomenal. Okay, so the next book that I'm going to be recommending is Dear Ava by Isla Madden Mills. This book is phenomenal. This is the first book that I ever read from this author, and I loved it. It was so good, and I just like couldn't put it down. Like I just had to keep reading, because like it's like I read the prologue chapter and then I was like, oh my god, like I need to know what happens next. Like it hooked me from the very start, and like I love books like that. So basically this follows Ava, and I'm not gonna say who the love interest is because it's kind of a spoiler. It's like a secret admirer type of situation, and there's like 3 potential people who left her the love note in her locker. but I don't remember if it's obvious who like the person is or if you're like guessing for a while. So I don't want to spoil it, so I'm not going to say who it is. And there is a trigger warning for sexual assault. I'm just putting that out there. So if that is triggering for you, do not read this book. It's literally like the main like plot of the book. Like it's like basically the whole like storyline. So yeah, but basically Ava, it starts off, she goes to this party and she gets drugged and sexually assaulted, but she wakes up and she can't like remember anything, but she knows something's like not right, like something feels off, and she like knows like something's wrong. Fast forward 10 months, she hasn't been at school for 10 months and she comes back to school and no one believes her. No one believes her about what happened, and everyone thinks she was lying, and so everyone hates her essentially. No one believes her and everyone hates her except for her best friend. And then she goes to school, she finds this like a love like note, like secret admirer type of thing in her locker from one of the sharks, and there are 3 sharks I think, and they basically are the popular boys, they rule the school, whatever. She hates them, they're awful to her, and yeah, so she gets this note in her locker from one of them and she's like, that's ridiculous. And yeah, things go from there. I am gonna read you guys a synopsis because it's kind of hard to say what happens without spoiling everything, and I don't want to spoil anything. The rich and popular sharks rule at pretentious ivy-covered Cayman Prep. Once upon a time I wanted to be a part of their world until they destroyed me. The last thing I expected was an anonymous love letter from one of them. Please, I hate every one of those rich jerks for what they did to me. The question is, which shark is my secret admirer? Knox, the scarred quarterback, Dane, his twin brother, or Chance, the ex who dumped me? Dear Ava, your eyes are the colour of the Caribbean Sea. Wait, that sounds stupid. What I really mean is, you look at me and I feel something real. It's been 10 months since you were here and I can't forget you. I've missed seeing you walk down the hall. I've missed you cheering at my football games. I've missed the smell of your hair, and then everything fell apart that night at the kegger. Don't hate me because I'm a shark. I just want to make you mine. So that little part at the end is the note that was in her locker. But yeah, the boy and her, like the love interest in this book, they have this like in the Revenge Pact, they just have this connection. That book is literally so good. I feel like I say that about everything, but like I mean, these books are some of my favorite books I've ever read. So the last book that I'm going to be recommending today is The Hating Game by Sally Thorne. This book is so good, and it's actually becoming a movie, which I'm so excited to watch. I don't know when it's coming out. They finished filming it a little while ago, but I'm excited. This book follows Lucy and Josh, and they work at the same publishing company. Basically, there was 2 of these publishing companies and then they merged together, and so Josh is the assistant of one of the bosses from like one of the companies, and Lucy is the assistant to the other boss of the publishing company. So when they merged together, they had to start working together because obviously now both of the bosses are co-bosses of this company because they merged together. They have to work together. I think they share an office from memory. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure they share an office, and they have to work very closely together, but they absolutely hate each other. So when this promotion comes along, it's up for grabs for both of them, and they're basically fighting it out to see who can get the promotion. Whoever gets the promotion becomes the other one's boss, and obviously they don't like each other, so they don't want that to happen. So whoever doesn't get the promotion has to resign. Lucy is very happy, positive, sunshine girl-esque, and Josh is like very, I hate everything, I don't really want to be here, I hate life type of thing. And it's like, I hate everyone in the world but you know, that type of vibe. Because they're both fighting for this promotion, they have to work pretty closely together, and they run a few like activities together I think, and then they get like closer and things happen, and you know, a love story blooms. And that is all for this video, so I hope you guys enjoyed. Make sure you give it a thumbs up if you did. Subscribe to my channel if you're not already, and if you want to see more enemies to lovers book recommendations, I can definitely do that. Let me know, because I have so many enemies to lovers books, because like I said, it's one of my favorite tropes. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed it. I will see you guys in my next one. Bye guys.